Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sarah Velasquez. I am the communications coordinator for the K-INBRE, if you don't already know that. I encourage you to visit all of our social media. We have Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We also have a YouTube page that this video will be posted to. And we have a website that we recently had redone, so you are encouraged to visit that and see all the great information we have there. I want to remind everybody that if you are planning to attend the symposium and you have not registered, registration is due by the 30th of November. So please get your registration in, and abstracts are due shortly. So please remember to get your abstracts in too. Today, our seminar is presented by Abby at KU. I'll let her introduce herself and give an overview of what she's going to talk about. And if you have any questions for her, we'll have time at the end, or if she wants you to answer during, that's up to her. So we'll begin.
All right. Okay, I'm going to share this again. Okay. I'm guessing it's working again. Okay, so hi, I'm Abby Ehling. I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions at KU, the main campus in Lawrence. And today I have a presentation about applying to graduate school. It can be pretty general. I will kind of mention things specific to KU, but I think many of these things can be applied to any school that you'd be applying to. So first, here's kind of the four, kind of the process. So making a plan, you want to make sure you have identified mentors, finding your program, and then actually applying it. Those are the kind of things we'll talk about today. So first, the plan. So if you're thinking you want to attend graduate school, you will want to start thinking about what some of the things you've done. So what courses have you taken? Where are you at currently? Do you have research experience? What are your volunteer experiences? Do you have any teaching experience, if that's something that you would want to do in the future? And then any other work experience, kind of thinking about all those things to then maybe help guide the path going forward, to kind of think about what you've currently done. So then you'll also want to think about career goals. So if you're thinking of just maybe professional advancement, then maybe a master's degree would be okay. But if you are interested in research or teaching, then maybe you want to do a doctoral program, but definitely kind of thinking about what are your future goals to then determine what level you want to do. Many programs you could start out as in a master's program, and then later if you decide you want to do the PhD, you can do that. Some admit directly to the doctoral program, so each are a little bit different, but kind of understanding what each would get you in the end can help you determine where you should go. So then after kind of thinking about those things, then what? So you might think about things that you might need to apply, or to be successful in a program. So maybe needing more research experience or writing experience. Some of these things can come out if I think we'll talk in a minute, or I'll talk in a minute about mentors, so they could help you kind of flesh that out. But if you're wanting to go into a PhD program, then maybe having that research experience would be important. And so you would want to make sure that in your undergrad experience you're getting that. If you're wanting, maybe depending on the program, more writing experience, and you'd want to do that. And then anything else that might be helpful, if you are wanting to teach, maybe seeing if you can TA or some sort of leadership experience. So then identify some mentors. So those could be faculty at your current institution, if you've done a summer research program or any sort of research program. That could be a volunteer program, anyone that you feel like could give you good direction and you feel like would really understand like what you're wanting to do. They wouldn't necessarily have to be someone in your field. You could have multiple mentors, someone in your field, but maybe someone out of your field. It doesn't have to be specific. It's just like you want to make sure that there's someone that you could trust to give you good advice. So then with the help of your mentors, thinking about those experiences, kind of narrowing down a program, understanding the discipline that you want to go into. So some programs really want you to like talk to faculty first. So they want you to reach out to a faculty person in the program and then identify, or so that you can kind of see your fit. Some programs have really specific kind of niches, and so kind of understanding what that could be. Talk to faculty and students like in the program. If it's more of just like finding out where programs are, you might think about, you know, like who have you read in your undergraduate studies and who have you really liked, like where did they get a degree, or looking at rankings, talking to your mentors could help you kind of narrow it if they know someone somewhere. So just kind of like getting the word out and feeling with different groups can help you kind of find that. Some programs, like we say biology, but like each program can be so different, and kind of thinking about what each one can offer is important. So kind of just thinking or like really kind of understanding all the little ins and outs of the area of program, I guess, if that makes sense. So then understanding the process. So visit with your faculty mentors, start looking at program websites, look at faculty research if you are wanting to do a PhD, you know, knowing what research the faculty is doing, if there's any area that you think would be really cool that you want to look into more, like that might narrow down where you want to attend or apply to at least. Master's can be more general. Like some master's programs will have you kind of do different, like you'll move around to different areas to kind of decide which one you actually want to narrow down to. So they give you a little bit of time to do that. Faculty or PhD might be more specific. Some of them might give you that opportunity to kind of look around a little bit first, but many, especially in the sciences, will, like, you should have a goal in mind, or, you know, a research area that you're at least interested in. Maybe it's not like super narrowed at one point or at that point of applying, but at least it's narrowed enough that you can say, like, this school does the research I want to do. Be realistic about career goals. So definitely like thinking about what they are and how you can get there and what you need to get there. And then identifying where you'll apply. Most places require like a statement of purpose, letters of recommendation, transcripts, resume. GRE, although I know many of the programs here at KU aren't requiring the GRE this year. So definitely making sure you know what the requirements are and planning early. So if the GRE is required, then you'll want to make sure that you take that test early, so you study so that you get the score you want. Also, like, if I'm assuming most people listening today are currently in undergrad, and so you're in the mindset right now of like studying for the GRE and being prepared for the GRE, it's much harder to take it after you've been out of school for a little bit. So if you are thinking that you'll go to graduate school either immediately after your undergrad, or if you think you might want to go into the field for a little bit first, you might consider taking the GRE now anyways, if it will be required for the program you're interested in, just that way so it's still fresh in your mind. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Kind of skipped over. So preparing to apply, Make sure that you identify the deadlines and the timeline for each program. Each are going to have different deadlines. So I feel like most areas kind of lump application deadlines around each other. So schools are like aware of what other schools are doing and tend to have similar deadlines, but definitely understand that each school will have different deadlines, different requirements. And so you want to pay attention to all those required materials and maybe organize your contacts and like the materials you need by school. So that way it's clear, like you kind of have a checklist for each school of what you need to submit. And make sure all your materials are specifically identifying the school you're applying to, and not, so it's thoughtful, like you're not just using the same materials for each one. I mean, most of them you're going to use for the same one, but make sure there's not, like if something's referencing one school and you're submitting it to another, to make sure to take that reference out just to keep it general. So definitely like reviewing and making sure that everything is set and clear before you submit. So for your statement of purpose, I personally think the statement of purpose is probably the most important piece of your application. So this will, you should in your statement determine why, or, really express why you're interested in a graduate program, and why you think you'd be a good fit. Be honest and really, write your goals. And if you're applying to schools for different reasons, you might have a different statement for each school, just so that you can specifically address for each institution, like why you want to go to that institution or why you want to work with that professor or that sort of thing. But definitely be honest and thoughtful in your statement. Have someone else read it, edit it. And then, like I said, just make sure if there's any references to specific schools that you modify that for each application. So for the letters of recommendation, when you think about who should write the letter, it could be those mentors that you've identified. It could be, but it definitely would be faculty that you've worked with. Anyone that you feel like could really speak to your academic abilities, maybe having different ones that could speak to different things could help. So if you worked with someone and you really feel like they could write about leadership experience or something, that's important in a specific program, then maybe have them write it. Definitely ask them ahead of time before you submit the application. I think many applications will ask who your letter writers are within the process, and then like the application will send an email to the recommender asking them to submit a letter. And so you don't want them to be caught off guard. Definitely tell them ahead of time, or ask them ahead of time to make sure that they're okay with doing it. And then tell them that they'll receive a request from the system or something like that. Most universities should have kind of like the process of submitting the letters of rec, and so then you could tell them kind of specifically what that would look like. For instance, like ours, you submit it with the application, and then when you submit the request in the application, it sends them an email with instructions of how to submit it. And so definitely making sure that they know what it is, make sure they know what the deadline is for the application. Some programs will let letters of rec come in later than the application deadline, but some will be very specific and want them before the deadline. If they want all materials to be submitted by the application deadline. So definitely make sure that you understand what the requirements are. And if you don't think, like maybe have one or two extra kind of backup letter writers in case one might not follow through. I mean, I think you want to make sure that you know your recommenders and you're able to trust that they would do it on time. But if there's anyone that you feel like might not do as good of a job, maybe kind of have a backup just in case it's not that you don't think they're going to get ready. Most applications have like a checklist feature too, so you can check that your recommendations have been received, and so then you can remind your recommenders too. to submit the application. Departments or like programs won't do that. It'll be up to you to make sure that your recommenders submit the letter. Most programs will require 3 recommendations, but some could be less, I'm assuming. I wouldn't think there would be any more. 3 is kind of the standard, but definitely pay attention to what that is required, or what the requirements are. I know I think most will have like a waiving the right to see option for you as the applicant. So it'll ask if you want to waive the right to see the recommendation. That just means that you, like if you want to see the recommendation afterwards, that you waived your right to see it, so you cannot see it. You can say that you do not want to waive your right, but some faculty or some recommenders might not like that. I will also say that I know like when I applied to graduate school, my letter writers emailed me the letter after they submitted it, so I already had it. But just so you know, there will be an option to like whether you waive the right or not, and that could affect whether your letter writer will submit it. But if you, like I said, if you know your recommenders, then it shouldn't be a problem. But I'm just mentioning it if that if anyone doesn't know what that means. So other requirements, transcripts. So for KU, for instance, we'll accept a copy of an official transcript for admission, but we'll need an official final transcript sent from your undergrad university to us directly if you're admitted. So definitely understand the requirement. Some might want you to send an official transcript with like at the beginning, so you'll need to send one from your undergrad institution to the university at the beginning. For us, you can request an official transcript and then scan a copy and add it to your application. I think most universities seem to be moving that way now, but just understanding kind of what the requirements are. I know like the university level here will allow the official copy of an official, but I can think of at least one department that wants an official with the application. So definitely kind of understanding, looking at the requirements and making sure you understand what's required for that particular program. So then, like I already said, resume and the GRE could also be in there too. So then, yeah, follow directions, very important. Make sure you complete all the required forms. Follow the directions for each program. Make sure you choose the correct program. So some faculty will be within multiple programs. And so if you're wanting to earn a degree in, if they're really multidisciplinary, if you're applying to kind of a multidisciplinary program, make sure that you are applying to the one that you actually want. And that shouldn't really be a big deal, but if you're applying to any like really multidisciplinary, that's where it can be kind of weird. If your faculty are within, or if the faculty you're interested in working with is within multiple programs. Send the transcript if you need to, send the GRE, the GRE will need to be sent from ETS, and so you'll want to do that ahead of time. You might need to get your transcripts ahead of time. And then after you submit, make sure to confirm that that everything has been received and that your application is complete. Most applications are built so that everything can be added to the application, and then when it's submitted, it should be complete. The only thing might be like GRE scores; those have to come in separately. But like with our application, you can upload your transcripts and your resume and your writing sample, and you can submit your letter of rec request. So everything that you can do can be added to the application, and so for the most part should be complete when you submit it. And then it might just be waiting for those letters of luck and like the test scores to arrive. So then for reviewing, these are kind of the steps for reviewing at KU. So the graduate program, whatever graduate program you apply to, would review the application, and then they would forward the decision either to like a school level graduate division or directly to my office. My office, graduate admissions, is kind of serves as the university level check for requirements, and so which for KU, the minimum university level requirements are proof of a bachelor's degree and then proof of English proficiency. So it's pretty minimal. The department will set the rest of the requirements. So they'll review it first, and then depending on the school, like another group might review it, and then it would come to us. So we'll confirm that proof of bachelor's degree and the English proficiency, and then we do require a 3.0 for a regular admission, but you can be admitted with below a 3.0, but we would be checking for that too. And then my office would be releasing the official decision letter. So a department, like if they're admitting you, they might send a letter before the official letter goes out to say, you know, hey, you've been recommended for admission. We're excited to have you type thing. But the official letter would come from the graduate admissions office. So some tips, always be responsive. So if a program reaches out needing some more information, like make sure that you're available to answer and get them what they need in a timely manner. Definitely start early. Program or deadlines vary. If you're planning on applying for like next fall, we have application deadlines starting December 1. And so it definitely can come up fast and you don't want to have to rush through it. So planning ahead of time is important. Choose your letter writers carefully and be thoughtful in your statement of purpose, things I've already mentioned. So then if you are admitted, yay. There's then another kind of list of things to think about. So, you know, were you offered financial support? Is financial support important, which for most of us it is. Do you want to visit campus? Like, have you been to campus yet? Maybe chat with your faculty mentors, think about those career goals, to really think about what program is the right fit for you. So that financial support is very important. Most departments have funding through their unit, especially for doctoral programs, and so they would probably offer it to you with their admission offer. But each do it kind of differently, so some could wait a little bit too. There are other funding opportunities that would be available if the department didn't offer funding, and so kind of thinking about what, you know, like looking into what those other options are before you make a decision. I think fit is pretty important, so you want to go where you feel comfortable and where you think you'll get the most out of a program. And so while I definitely know that financial support is important, there are other ways, and so kind of before you make that final decision, thinking about the bigger picture too can help you find that right fit. And always respond in writing. So if you decide not to attend, or I guess either way, if you decide to attend or not, definitely let them know in writing that you are coming or you're not coming. Definitely, I mean, I think most of us think about like an automatic, yes, I'll let them know that I am coming, but also let them know if you're not coming, because they're probably saving a spot for someone else in the program. And so thinking about, you know, like be courteous to other applicants, I guess. I guess that's it. I kind of went through that fast. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. And I guess my contact information is here too. If you want to email me with any questions too, I'm happy to help. Even if you're not applying to KU, it's okay.
Anybody have questions? Not that we were moved by Netflix, but I suppose I need to. Do you have questions?
Anybody have any questions? Anybody going to graduate school?
Can I ask one, Sarah? I could go back to grad school. I like what the admissions counselor thought of Peterson's Guide. Does she recommend students get into Peterson's Guide for grad schools, or is that getting a little dated these days?
So we still update our information for the Peterson's Guide, but I would think actually like going to an individual's website to kind of find some of that stuff might be better. I mean, maybe that's a starting guide, but definitely as far as like data and stuff that they share in that, I would probably be more accurate if you went directly to like a program's website or like a school's website. So definitely like, I think starting with that Peterson Guide just to kind of get a feel for what programs are being offered and then use that kind of as a stepping stone to get more information elsewhere.
Thank you.
Sure.
You mentioned that some programs are not requiring the GRE anymore. Is there a reason for that?
So I think many are realizing that the GRE isn't necessarily indicative of success in a graduate program, and so they're rethinking about, I know many of them are saying that they'll take them if someone takes the test, they'll like accept the test, but they're not going to require it for everyone. So I think it's more of like they're realizing that it doesn't necessarily show that like they're looking at their students that took it and maybe that have high scores, and they're seeing that it doesn't necessarily correlate with the success in graduate school.
Do you know if this is certain types of programs that are not accepting the GRE anymore, or like liberal arts or sciences, or who is not taking it now and who is?
Yeah, so I know that like ecology and evolutionary biology isn't requiring it. Molecular bioscience might not be either. Computational biology isn't. So it's kind of and then there are many of our like liberal arts and sciences programs that aren't requiring it, but I was kind of more surprised about the science programs that aren't this year. So it is kind of a mix.
So if any of our students are planning to go on for like an MBA or something, because that furthers their trajectory, are people not accepting the GMAT also, or is that still something that they're requiring?
So I think like our MBA program was only requiring the GMAT for like funding opportunities, if I'm remembering right. So I think it just really, it varies. I think the GMAT's still being used more for that area. It's mostly just the GRE that people are kind of reconsidering, I think.
How many of you are planning on going to graduate school? Raise your hand. A couple of you? Any of you planning to go to medical school? Nobody? That surprises me.
Yeah, and that they have totally different requirements than medical center would too, so.
All right, does anybody have any final questions? Concerns? All right, then let's thank Abby for presenting for us. And everybody's gonna clap for you now.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes.
We were muted. We had all 4 kids raising their hands for going to grad school.
Oh, okay, great. Do any of them have any questions?
I don't think so.
Well, I just want to remind all of the coordinators that are present, I am sending you an email to remind you to have your students that participated fill out the survey for today's program. And if anybody has any questions, you have Abby's email, and she'll be happy to answer those for you. And if you have any questions about the K-INBRE program, you're welcome to contact me. And I appreciate everybody coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.